thank you for coming. We have a really exciting story with Banyan Gold. We're located in the Yukon in what is the new Tombstone Gold Belt, which is generating lots of attention and investment in the Yukon. You know, the Yukon has had a long history of gold mining. Most of that's been centered in the Klondike, with recent discoveries over in the Tombstone Belt and the development of Victoria Gold's Eagle Gold Mine, which was Canada's newest gold mine, built during the pandemic, will be a 200,000 ounce producer. We are immediately adjacent to them, and we made our discovery at our now power line deposit in 2019. So here we are under a power line with a main highway running right through the property, and we're making brand new discoveries in the Yukon. You know, what's really exciting in this jurisdiction is that we've seen major investments in addition to a mine being built from B2, other major mining companies. What else is really exciting is that in the Yukon, you can actually permit mines. Not only do we have security of tenure, but I have 2 mines that were permitted in recent days right beside us. My background is I was actually the chair of the Environmental Assessment Processes Rules Committee for 12 years, actually. So our team has unique attributes in being really well-versed in what it takes to take a project all the way from exploration to development. And we're sitting with a very impressive 6.2 million ounces. That photograph from the top of this hill down to here, this is our power line deposit. This is our airstrip deposit. And then you look at that photo, as a miner, I say, wow, that's some pretty moderate topography. You'll notice no big mountains, no rivers, no lakes, no glaciers. And what's really exciting is these roads, existing brown fields with roads that are year-round maintained, a brand new power line that was just constructed in 2021 that's only energized to half its capacity and serves 2 mines, even cell phone service and fiber optic cable across the property. Doesn't get much better than that for building a mine. You know, there's Victoria Gold, which I talked about, new heap leach mine producer. I'll also talk about their Raven. We also have another major miner right beside us, Hecla, who just purchased Alexco's property right beside us. And in this video, that yellow streak is what is the new Tombstone mining belt. And in many parts of the world, these mining districts are come when you make some new discoveries that are of significant scale, you build mines, and I think, and I'll show you in the next slide, that if you were to draw a circle around us right now, we would have 18 million ounces in gold equivalent ounces, and that's growing with what we're continuing to find on our 173 square kilometer Ormac property. There's a resource. It's currently in 3 deposits, our power line, airstrip, and Oryx Hill deposits, with all those key attributes of infrastructure, permittable, and other things that were really important for developing a mine. There's the resource model. It's all within 200 meters of surface because it's an open pit project. We know that this mineralization goes to depth. We've actually drilled to over 600 meters or 500 meters vertically. So we know that the mineralization is very long-lived. This is a very big system. Since we put out this resource, and there you can see the sheeted veins of this deposit, very similar to Snowline, which many of you have maybe heard of, where you get these sheeted veins and you can count the vein density, which gives you an idea of grade. Lots of visible gold. Since we put out this resource, we've drilled to connect Oryx Hill and power line and expand Oryx Hill. It's been a pretty short journey. I became the CEO in 2016. We grew this resource from our first resource of 900,000 in 2020 to 6.2 million ounces by 2023. And we know we've continued to grow it with the 25,000 ounces we drilled last year. There is the summary. You know, we've got a track record of adding value, less than $7 per ounce of gold. We've got that fabulous infrastructure. We're year-round. People think of the Yukon and they think that you can only operate in the summer. That's only if you don't have the fabulous infrastructure and expertise that we have. We've drilled to December 20th, and then taken a break for Christmas and picked it up in the new year. And we're funded. We're very careful stewards of our shareholders' capital going into 2023 with $7 million. And you'll also notice a really interesting thing on our balance sheet. If you looked at our financials a couple days ago, we actually had almost $700,000 in revenue. We are very creative. We get rentals, and we're anticipating between $700 and $1 million in revenue in 2024, which goes a long way to covering our G&A, which is one of the lowest in the business. And there's that area, this is an area play, similar to the Golden Triangle, Red Lake. Initial discoveries are made, mines built, and it really does drive additional discovery. We found our deposit in 2019 right under a power line, and nobody had actually taken a gold assay till 1980. So it's a really exciting jurisdiction to be working in. Our property has lots of potential. We've built the team that we need to move it into the next phases. We are starting to get to that phase where we have to think about pre-development. We are still in the discovery phase. James is our lead geologist, and Kai is also here, our VP of Project Development, as well as Jasmine, our VP of Communications. So stop by our booth and talk to us. But we've built the right team with people that have a track record of success. In terms of our share registry, we really have been validated by having such strong institutional shareholders. Generally, a market cap company such as ourselves, or under 100 million, does not have this quality of institutional investment. And really, all of our major funds have done site visits as well as vetted our geology and team before making those investments. Having the mine next door to you make an investment in you at 11% is also key. But one of the things I always look at when I'm evaluating company is how much skin does management have in the game. Well, I'm the third CEO of this company, so I've had to buy all my shares in the market. I'm a 4% shareholder, which means I have close to $2 million in cash. And I've never sold a share, including every option I've exercised. I've paid the tax, and I have not sold a share because I have a lot of faith in this property and the company, and I want to be vested alongside my shareholders to make money through my equity. So that's something you should ask companies. How much real skin did you get founders stock, or did you buy it in the market alongside your shareholders? Put $500,000 in one financing alone. We're covered by Cormark and Paradigm, so independent research analysts that we don't pay, as well as a couple newsletter writers. You'll notice our financings have been done without warrants. That's a testament to the quality of the institutional investors as well as their belief in the project. Last financing at 41 cents, so we know we can add a lot of value with the money that we have in the bank. ESG is really important if you want to move projects forward in Canada. That's something that our team does exceptionally well, and is really demonstrated by the fact that we have a strong permit that gets us all the way through 2028. I've been working in the Yukon and actually started a charity way before I became the CEO of Banyan back in 2012. We work directly with communities and First Nations on funding projects which get and keep kids in school and ultimately lead to kids graduating and being prepared for the jobs of the future. That's something that I'm really passionate about as kids and youth, and my team does that as well. Our First Nation, we work with very, very closely, have a good relationship, including working with their development corp. We have one First Nation, it's a settled First Nation in the Yukon, which is really important and has key advantages going through the permitting process. And they also have existing relationships with the mines beside us. Here's the deposit. The orange is the outline of the pit in the resource. The blue is our new mineralized footprint. We know there's continued growth here and a view to a much larger resource on the property. Here's just a section showing through the deposit. The purple and the red are the highest grade. So this is right near surface, low strip ratio, and you can see some high grade intercepts that we found. So one of the stories that we have is that we really believe that we can put together a high grade core, which will be important for the long-term NPV of this project. And you can see it in the sensitivity table. We picked a cutoff grade, which is a typical of many mining projects and shows the scale of the resource. But if we'd have picked a 0.5, we'd have had 4.5 million ounces at 0.95. So the key question is, are those mineable and in one area where you could put them into your feasibility study? This is just, the science of this is that we're the same intrusion-related deposits in this district, and I encourage you to come talk to our geos if that excites you. We have another property off to the west, which brings our total up to 300 square kilometers with known gold intrusions. It's early stage exploration, but lots of excitement for us because we believe we've got the potential to find it. One of the key things for us next is to de-risk this project that shows that it can be economically extracted. We've done the early work to show that it's amenable to cyanide. 90% recovery from bottle rolls on pulps. We're now looking at a broader range, though. Originally, everyone thought, oh, you're another heap leach just like Victoria Gold. But we believe it gives us greater optionality. And these projects, if they're deep and big, often can have better long-term economics through some of the other conventional mining processes of CIP, CIL, or flotation. And we also look across the valley and see the Braven deposit that Victoria Gold just made a discovery on. It's higher grade, currently at 1.7, but they're on the cusp of putting out another resource. We know that that's a flotation project, so certainly synergies. Somewhere in this district there will be a mill built. So knowing those answers gives us greater optionality for the long-term outcomes of this. Previously, people thought, well, Victoria Gold's a big shareholder. They're going to acquire you. Well, we want greater optionality because that's how you drive value for your shareholders, is make sure there's some competitors for this product. So we'll have our met work, and we're already encouraged enough to be planning a phase 2 for 2024. We have a huge advantage in the permittability of this project because we have all of the baseline data from both Victoria Gold and Alexco, and we started our baseline in 2021, which most juniors don't do. That gives us huge ability to move very quickly on permitting, in addition to the relationships with the First Nation. So come and talk to us about this. It's a huge advantage that our team has. If we look at Cormark's research of open pit projects in North America, we, at our current resource, are the 5th largest in North America. As we go up that chart, which we believe we have lots of potential to add ounces, you certainly get in rare company. Majors have not done the exploration that they need to replace their resources. And some of the projects that have big resources maybe aren't permittable, maybe aren't economic. We like to make sure that we are de-risking ours and moving up that curve, but also showing that we're a project that can move forward. Our current valuation is very compelling. $10 per ounce is certainly an exceptional price for people to buy at the market, and why we've been so careful with our cash. We really want to drive value for our shareholders. There's just that chart again of showing the rapidness of which we've grown this resource. It's really rare to go from no resource to 6.2 million ounces in 3.5 years, and lots of room to continue to grow and de-risk it as we move forward. So, we've been very strategic setting this project up. There are very few projects that have the scale of resource, that infrastructure, the ability to permit in the world, particularly in what's a very strong gold price environment. Yes, we haven't seen retail investment into juniors yet, but I believe it's coming as we see the cash flow from many of the mines. We have 2 mines already beside us, both who are interested in gold projects that have made that clear in the Yukon, a compelling valuation. Strong shareholders and very careful management of our treasury. We'll have lots of catalysts going into 2024, and this jurisdiction is getting lots of excitement, so we're certainly one to watch. Thank you for your time. Come visit us at our booth.